This is what they would refer to as raw pasture land. There's definitely coyotes in the area. That's how you get loose fencing tight. You can see that it's about a foot apart. And so how do you fix something like that in the field?
Oh my, this is some tall grass.
What's up? Welcome to the ranch. We are actually out on the road right now. We have recently acquired some additional lease land, and it is such a blessing to be able to work with this new family. And maybe in the future I'll be able to introduce you to them. But today what we're doing is we have to go along and check all the fence lines in this pasture. Now, the awesome thing about this pasture is this is what they would refer to as raw pasture land. In other words, nothing has been out here for so many years that everything is just running wild. Now, there is a fence in place. However, I don't know how good these fences are. And so what we're going to do, my partners today, I got reinforcements on the way as well, but we're going to go along every inch of this fence and check it. And so back here in this pasture where we're going to be working today is 30 acres. And 30 acres may not seem like a lot to some people, but 30 acres of fence line is a lot of work. And so, as I said, we're going to start inch by inch and go along this whole thing. And so if our cameraman kind of peels back over here, you can see that there's a lot of trees back here along the fence line. And so we're going to have to go digging. We're going to have to fight the mosquitoes. We may have to run across some feral hogs. Nah, I'm just kidding. Well, hopefully I'm kidding. Coyotes, who knows what's back here. But I have come with protection. I brought a firearm with me in case it's needed to keep ourselves safe back here because we don't know what's here. So while we're excited to get this fence line checked, we also have to remember that it is wild back here. We don't know what's in the trees, we don't know what's in the bushes, but time will tell. And so we got to be safe. All right, so here we go. We're going to start our journey, and we ask that you come along with us. So it's super important to make sure that your fence lines are strong and secure when you put cattle back here. If you don't, you'll wind up missing cattle and not know where they are. And that's one of the worst feelings when you don't know where your cows are. Or if you get a call from a neighbor and say, hey, is this your cow? So while we're going along the fence line, we're going to shore everything up and make sure it's strong so that we can put them back here and feel good about them being where they're supposed to be. So you'll see that we're trying to get these barbs put in the right place. And you can actually see over here, the cameraman comes up a little closer. You can see with him that where the fence line is loose, a quick way to be able to address the looseness of the barb is by putting these little bends in there, and then it makes it nice and tight. So if you look down here, for example, and see how loose this is, the way that you can correct that is just go over top of the barb and then just put a bend in it like that, and now you can see that it's sturdy. And just to make sure that it's nice and tight, we're also going to go ahead and make sure it's attached along the fence if it's needed. But that's how you get loose fencing tight. So it doesn't have to be super tight in the beginning. You can make adjustments as you go along, because the other thing that you'll find, especially in warm climates like down here in Texas, is you could put this fencing up. If you do it in the winter time, it's nice and tight. But as we all know, the metal expands in the hot temperatures, so that once that sun starts baking it in the summertime, it'll become really loose, and you may have to go through and make some adjustments. So, but that's why it's important as a cattleman to make sure that you're always checking your fences, or at least on a regular basis checking it, so that you, again, know that your cows are where they belong. So you have good fences, you don't have as much work. Okay, you can clearly see there's definitely a lot of trees along this fence line. And it's going to be a lot of work to get it out, but that's what you need if you're going to get a good pasture, is you got to put good work into it. So, got the boys over here working on the fence line. I'm working on the trees ahead of them to try to clear out some space so they can work. And we're going to keep on rolling. Those out of the way. This is a piece of old barb, and it's pretty old, but you can see that the tree just grows right around it. Isn't that awesome to see? You can kind of see it even better on this tree here. Look how awesome that is. The tree just takes the barb right in. This is where we learn how to use Ingenuity to fix things, okay? So we have a barb here and a piece of barb here, but you can see that it's about a foot apart. And so how do you fix something like that in the field? I'm going to show you. Put this here and here. And if you notice down here, there's a lot of barb fence that is old and it's just kind of been abandoned. What I've done is I've cut myself a piece about 4 or 5 feet long, and the way that I'm going to mend this fence together is I'm going to make a hoop or a loop out of one side. I'll make it long enough so that I can wrap it around itself. And barb fence lasts a long time. So even if it's a little bit rusted on the outside, if you have to make it useful, use it until you get to the point where you can't any longer. Okay? And so what we'll do is I'm going to insert this piece, one side from the broke. And I'm actually going to go beyond the barb and fold it back on itself again. Now what we're doing is creating a loop system, and it'll be able to tighten itself if anything, or once we start tightening the fence down. So now you can see I have 2 interlocking pieces, and once I pull it tight, it'll become one. And this is how you have to use Ingenuity without spending a ton of money. So I'm using the resources that are here on the pasture, and I'm going to be able to fix the fence. And if I don't feel 100% about it, I can always come back and get to it later. But what I'm going to tell you is I've done this a ton of times, and not to have to run a whole nother strand 40, 50 feet saves you a ton of money and time. Okay, so just to show again, I have a 1 hoop on this side, and then I'm going to take the other broken piece. I'm going to slip it through the hoop. I'm going to go at least 1 barb. If you do 1 barb, you see how it kind of connects to itself. I can let it go. And this will help you when you're actually folding it. You don't have to worry about it trying to pull back through your hands. And one little piece of tidbit too, when you're working with barb fence, take leather gloves with you. I forgot my leather gloves, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so I don't really have the option to go get them right now, because I'm working by myself as far as people who can drive. So it's okay, but I do recommend using gloves for that. So as you can see, I have twisted this wire back on itself, and now what's going to happen is once I take my tool here, my fence mending tool, now I can put that bend in it like we talked about before, to make that top strand nice and tight, and voila, it's good to go. This is what I was talking about earlier, where I said we needed to be careful. So one of my boys was walking along and found bones. This looks like cattle bones. You can see that there's still some membrane in between the bones. So this means that there's definitely coyotes in the area. So one tree that we have down here in Texas, one of many, that you have to be really careful of, is what they call the mesquite tree. And mesquite tree, while great for smoking food with, I want you to see the thorns on these things. Now you can see my thumb here, and you can see how big that spike is. This thing is extremely sharp. And again, while it's good for smoking meats, it is not good to get stabbed with. So those are the things you got to watch for while we're out here. But there are a lot of mesquite trees down here in Texas. So the kids actually found that this is a whole bunch of daddy longlegs under here. Let's see if we can get them to come out. Oh, look at that. Dude, that's crazy. Did you get that one on video? Awesome. You're gonna get me crying like a little baby in a minute.
Yep.
What do you mean, yep?
I'm agreeing with you.
No, don't agree with me.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, this part of the barb, there's some old pieces that are just locked up grown into the fence line. Excuse me. There's pieces grown into the trees. And so it's making it hard, but this is so far out in the woods it really doesn't matter. The biggest thing is making sure the cows cannot get out. If the cows can't get out, then we are successful. It may not be the prettiest looking fence, but it works. It's a long day, it's hot and breezy. It's good, we're in the shade right now, but it is hot. All right, so we finished up the day. Definitely didn't finish checking all the fence line yet, but we just got back to the truck. We're loading up the four-wheeler and we're heading home, get some dinner. It's been a long day. Man, it's been hot. I'm sweating, been getting cut up. You know, it's been a good day though. This is what we live for, coming out here, just enjoying being part of God's creation. It's just beautiful to be out here to listen to all the insects and get to see all the different animals out here. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified each time that we put up a new video. But hey, who likes pastures and fence mending and being outdoors? Farmers do. Until next time, peace. Check, 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 check.
What? Input.
Check it.
Earlier I backed into a ditch.
All right, so when you hang barbed wire, I was getting ready to say barbecue wire. I guess I'm getting hungry. Peace. That was like a gang sign, so I don't even know what that is. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it as well. Come back. You're really close to me. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Until next time, Peace. That was weak.
This is my tree now. Yep, that's the tree.
All right. Come
Eat
back and enjoy it. Come back and enjoy it. Is that these are not roots down here. These are actually granddaddy long legs. What are they called?
Daddy long legs.
Oh, there you go. What do you think Mom would say about being that high?